Welcome to our July meeting in Kingsburg. Let's see, Rachel, would you like to call a roll?
Richard Forth. Karen Stroud.
Yes.
Scott Reese.
Here.
Dan Mulder.
Here.
Sarah McLean. Here. Aggie Foss. Here. Jamie Mills. Here.
And we're recording now?
Mhm.
And there's nobody on Zoom?
Oh.
Okay, great. Did you have a chance to look at the minutes? Any comments, questions, corrections?
Our last event that talked about the Shea Park, I went over and looked at it. There are not deep holes. There's little dips in there, but there are not deep holes. It could be leveled a little bit, but deep holes was a little bit
Well,
of
that's what Rachel
exaggeration.
and I says, we'll go make an effort and make it look like we're doing
Yeah.
something here.
I went up there.
Yeah.
Walked around.
We walked by it on the 4th of July because we parked at the baseball fields and walked out and I was like, looks okay to me.
I mean, they see the public's point where they don't look as pristine, but the same can be said for Kiwanis. Same could honestly be said for those little league fields.
For sure.
I mean, that's just,
Harborview, yeah.
yeah, there are a lot of different parks. So I think really what we're looking at then going forward is making our up the bluff parks look is nice. Here.
Shade Park is fine, I go to yoga.
But it's not a safety
Saturday. I've
concern.
never seen a hole when I've gone in.
No, you-
I think she's
It's
talking
not
about.
over.
Yeah.
Oh, that one, yeah,
It's
okay. Okay, I gotcha.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I moved.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Let's see, there's no, any communications, Rachel?
No, Sarah, do you mind if I bring up what you saw at Beaver
Yeah.
Island? Yeah, so Sarah texted me a couple nights ago and Beaver Island, I don't have the picture, but Dan and I have talked about it before. So we have the box, it's kind of like a lost and found slash extra beach toys, and we have a deck box that is not very pretty down at the beach. Beaver Island has like a wood structure, she can probably pass it around on her phone, that says, you know, like toys to use, like bring back, but it looks really cool. It's way more inviting.
It's like a
Yeah.
pretty little library.
Yeah, you'll see, it's like a
Toy
library, toy library.
Yeah.
But maybe, when we talked about like maybe partnering with like the Harbor Springs School, the shop class, it seems fairly easy to build.
Or an
It's
Eagle
not
Scout
anything,
project?
yeah, it's not anything.
If you send that to me,
Oh, that's right.
I know Brad Reed well, so I can.
Yeah.
He'll do it.
Cause like I said, we have the deck box, but like it doesn't really necessarily scream, come grab toys.
They had,
Yeah.
they have like a rack in it
Yeah.
for smaller toys.
Yeah.
And then there's just a bunch of, and I know just running through, going to resale shops or whatnot, you
I'll take it back.
Yeah.
or ask for donations to get it
Yeah.
started.
Or just the toys that are left there this summer.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like every time we're there, there's just.
Was that in St. James there?
Yeah.
That was
right-
down
right
at
by
the,
beach there.
yeah, the public beach. We just
Yeah.
happened upon it after dinner and
Nice.
we didn't bring anything with us and all of a sudden there's these mounds of sand toys that the kids just had a great time with.
That's awesome.
And we just picked them up and put them back. And they had it at multiple parks. It wasn't just this downtown. It was the second time I'd seen it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it works best if you're gonna have like a wall to put it against, like, I don't know if Marina Barefoot works quite as well.
Yeah, it'd be good for the beach
The
though,
beach, yeah.
figures coming out, yeah.
Or the restroom building or something.
Should we get this going?
I can just email Brad and see what he thinks.
Is he the shop teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and
Yeah,
his daughter's
great.
one of my students, so.
I have had a couple of complaints this week about toys being left all over Marina Park. Now, I don't know if it's left over from the people there or the teenagers who were causing trouble, you know, but there was chess and checkers all over the park. There were the wooden blocks also strewn all over the park. You know, because this is from,
Short-term renters.
this was from people whose boats are parked there and they have a dog and they take the dog, you know, for a
Yeah.
walk. So,
I'll keep an eye, I'll talk to Mike.
I mean, you know, I'm sure it happens after
that.
they go away, you know,
Yeah.
at 8 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Rachel, I have two questions too about the beach. So we're there before 10, before the lifeguards get there, but the last time we were there were like piles of goose poop washed up in the water again. Is that like the first thing the girls do when
Yeah,
they
so that's
get
the
there?
first thing they do when they
Okay.
get there, yep, is they do the beach line. then they goose poop the walkways, and then they clean the restrooms, and then as time allows, they goose poop the grass. 'Cause that stuff will then, if it.
So
if it
they
heavy
do the
rain,
water
it'll
line.
do- Yeah, but the
pretty-
water line's the first thing they do.
They were
And then-
this morning. at
And then I had
Lois
another
morning.
question too, is if they could just keep that hose coiled up when they're not using it, because it's usually, it's kind of stretched across the patio. People are just loving that playground though. It's so
They
fun to
love
go
it.
down there and see.
It was busy this morning when I took Miles down.
Yeah.
The picnic tables were filled. This is what, 10 o'clock in the morning?
Wow, good.
Excellent. Okay, let's see then, no public comment. Should we move on to the Shea Park site plan?
Yeah.
And
And I have
I
this,
was
I
under the,
unfortunately don't have the other one, so you know.
what's that?
The other thing you sent, I don't have, this is the only one.
Oh, with the
I have,
pictures
yeah,
on
on this
it?
computer,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna get.
We
the
have it in
pointer
our
here.
emails.
Did everybody get a chance to glance at it anyway?
Oh, yeah.
Do we have the pointer?
Not going up there. Have to be, I went missing, and it's.
Let's turn it into a bowling alley.
I like that the one
One
picture
of
was
these
labeled the
two.
bowling alley on the east side.
I'm excited about this. Either.
Okay, I'll point the old fashioned way. Okay, so there's a bunch of different ideas. I think our main goal is to figure out exactly where we want the locomotive to go. So I thought it was showing up in August. Is that not true anymore?
That's October.
October now?
Well, that's what I always thought it was. so.
No, I think it's still August. I haven't
It's
heard
still
differently
August?
than August.
Oh, I thought you
yeah.
said something in your email about it maybe next year.
No, the pavilion.
Oh,
The pavilion won't be till next year.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to be ready for the locomotive.
Yeah.
So, this is, think about where we discussed where it was on that plan that Lucas had done up for Kristen and then, shifted, south 6 feet and plus 6 feet. So there's notes down here about how many feet it is from the property line. There's some question whether it's gonna be in the setback or not. This is the property line. It's a really wide right of way, so way wider than like residential streets. So even if it is in the setback, it still is just, pretty far away. So my thoughts on where this is I don't think we want it any closer to the streets because you'll have a sense of crowding. I also don't think we want to move it into the park any further to take up more space. So I think that the best thing we could do right now is we can go down there and put stakes out and kind of get a feel then for what it looks like, real time in the space. This is the dimensions of the pavilion, and I thought they said something about there'd be the locomotive and then 5 feet around it of walkway. So I just didn't know how effective that was gonna be, like if you had a group of people or something like that. And you've got the posts that you're trying to wind around, so my feeling is to add more concrete around the outside. So I think we should try and minimize hardscape as much as possible. But I think that would be something that would be useful.
More than
Um,
5 feet, you're thinking?
Sorry,
More than 5 feet?
so 5 feet, here's the locomotive underneath the pavilion and then 5 more feet beyond that.
I don't know if I want to encroach more on the park.
Mhm.
My only objective.
And people can walk on grass, you tend
Yeah.
to forget that.
Yeah.
So this could be just swoop right down. Right down so that you're immediately under here. I don't know if.
Does this make it though with the extra, make it more accessible for people who maybe need additional assistance or with strollers?
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I guess I'm just kind of thinking, I understand wanting to keep the green space, but 5 feet versus the entire park, if it means that we can be more inclusive.
How wide would you think that needs to be, Sarah?
I don't know, I would like to see it out there, but
Yeah.
I think it is.
Is it? It's gotta be just that.
the way that
Yeah.
this looks.
So all the city sidewalks are 5 feet for the most part.
So let's just read it.
So let's come back and talk more about that though. Let's see, And then so Shea House over here. So are we oriented, then this is Bay Street, that's Main Street. So people may be here and maybe coming across up to the pavilion. They may be coming from Main Street, and to Karen's point about like, well, why can't they just come down here? Well, that's kind of a hill there. So we just have to figure out if we do want a way for them to get in sooner than coming all the way down to the corner. And if we don't have that, are they just gonna walk across grass anyways? Does it matter, I guess, is the other question.
What is that darkened swoop there from down?
Okay, let's go that way. So, I think one of the goals of this exercise is to see what we can do to tie these elements together, so it looks like, you know, it's part of a greater whole, and the goal always is to make it look like it's always been there. So I like the idea of having a 5-foot walk up to the AHA. So this is a garden of some type. I like the boxwood hedge idea like we did at Marina Park. I just think it's really good for organizing space. I think it just pops right out, so you know, okay, here's a walk. I think it's a great, simple backdrop for interpretive signage. Like this could be the walk down memory lane around the time of Ephraim Shea, or I don't know. But these would be then signage. There's 2 at the AHA right now. I don't know if this makes sense to have benches that are pointed at the AHA, like, do you really want to sit there like 20 feet from the AHA and stare at it? But it seems weird to just end the walk here. So let's come back to that one as well. Another thing that I considered, and there was a picture in that packet, is whether we want to have like a seat wall or benches or something like that, that would be sort of an outdoor classroom or a place for people to gather to get a lecture about something if they're on a tour. Oops.
Yeah, sorry, what happened? Looks like that.
Would be a good idea to try to stake out, you know, that space.
Yeah.
Get an idea on the, you know, the walkway that you have up there. what that
This
would
one,
look
yeah, we
like,
could put like a little line of stakes.
And I like to see that too.
Was looking
I guess,
like-
you know, we don't have to have a walkway. But I think having a garden bed connecting the 2 would help. I like the idea of a walkway, especially for ADA and
Yeah.
people with strollers. But the other thing I was thinking about is we could have like a little seat wall here, or we could have like the picture I saw were like little log grounds, which kind of maybe it's reminiscent of the logging days that Ephraim Shea was involved with. And then somebody could stand here and give people a talk. Or maybe it's better to have just kind of a display space for
When you say a walkway, you got concrete?
I don't think we want to get into pavers or anything more expensive. Just, you know, some picnic tables. Let's finish talking about the hardscape then. So ways to get into the park are down this way, across this way. Then when I first started out, this was it, and this wasn't there. But I thought it was a worthwhile exercise to talk about whether there would be value in adding a city walk where you could have a crossover to Ford Park. Just a couple thoughts on that is, you know, if there was something bigger going on there, you know, people could park at the Ford Park parking lot. There's been talk about, you know, it'd be really fun to connect all the downtown parks at some point. But we've got the sidewalk along the other side too. So, I mean, if you were at this park, you cross here and then go to Ford Park that way. So this could be a, let's wait and see how it goes without that. And that would be less hardscape, which I think nobody would probably have a problem with.
We really actually do need a crosswalk on Bay Street to Fort Park.
I agree, and
You don't
some
have
of
one
them,
here,
There's 2. There's one on each corner
A little
of,
bit closer to
John.
the entrance of
but
Fort
there's a
Park.
curb. So you, if you're on a bike,
Yeah.
you can't access because of the curb, or you have a stroller.
Yeah.
You
The
have that kind
connection
of,
on Bay Street anywhere is horrible.
yeah, you have to cross and use Irish's driveway to get back onto.
Well, couldn't DPW cut the curbs down? We ask about
I'm just
that?
making a note,
That's not
if
parks,
Right.
so.
talking about advocating for another
Crosswalk.
entrance to it in a way that doesn't have to be a curb, would be great.
Yeah, because when we are down there on field trips, we're walking back across that street, across to Irish and down to the bathrooms right there.
So are you saying then that this would be useful
Yeah.
for that table?
In my opinion.
Yeah, where are the trees right now that are down on that end by Bay Street?
By Bay Street,
Yeah.
these are the two big sugar
Those
maples.
are right there,
Yep.
okay.
And then there's two more little new ones. There's two new ones here, which you see little X's.
Mhm.
And then here's the bowling alley trees along here.
Okay.
So where you see a circle with an X, that means, I think it'd be worthwhile to relocate them.
I'm gonna have to speak to Victor, there may be an agreement that those trees have to stay there. I think they have agreement with Demers.
Do they have like an easement?
I don't know.
Did
Jeff
Demers
told me-
donate them or something?
I don't know, but Jeff Grimm told me to just double check with Victor. He thinks those were planted a straight line for a reason. Most people don't plant straight lines of trees in a park. Seems, oh my gosh.
I think what happened is tree board put them in and they got these trees and they needed somewhere to put
Yeah,
them.
that could be
And
too.
it's like ring around the rosy, which
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
obvious way to arrange them.
I'm just saying, I think like the distance and all that might be an agreement. I'm not saying they can't move, but we'll have to investigate that a little more.
There were two more trees north of the two that are already along Bay Street there. Were those to be new trees? Yeah, so the ones on
They
the
go up here.
northeast corner of
Here?
the pavilion. Yeah, just
Yeah.
up from there,
And-
northeast, the corner up from there, northeast,
Here?
no. Northeast.
Northeast. So these are all the new trees there. Oh, no, these are new trees. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I
okay,
just
so-
misunderstood.
Yeah, that would take up more of the green space.
But it would provide shade and, I think that would be a case where it's maybe happy to do yoga in the shade.
As long as they're not too big around.
I think we have to
Alrighty.
define what green space is. I think we're all a bit confused on what green space is. A playground is considered green space.
I consider.
Playscapes are considered green space. So I think saving grass area, yes, but I just want to be careful of how we define green space, because as we get into more parks projects, that's not a very clear line.
I think
So-
it's any space that's green that has trees in it,
In other words, it doesn't have to be treeless.
yeah.
Right.
And it's just kind of hot and blistering there, in my opinion, right now. And so this is not adding, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 trees. So there, a few of them are relocated here, 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 here. And then, more to talk about, but I was thinking, we want to replace those trees up at Harbor View, that these are actually, a little bit bigger trees. It'd be wonderful if we could take them up there.
So, go ahead.
No, you go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, so this plan won't go into place until the pavilion is set up, which I believe the historical society said was about a year and a half off. So it's something we definitely need to start discussing. I would say the next steps, I'll let Dana finish obviously, but the next steps tonight would be maybe go around the room, just say what you like about it and what you would like to maybe see changed or tweaked. And then that gives Dana something to work on going forward. Otherwise, we're gonna have 10 different plans and it'll be kind of chaotic. Does that make sense?
Let me see what else I was gonna say. I did look at, whenever you're walking, it's nice to have a loop instead of just a whoop, whoop. So right now, this is just whoop, whoop, or, you can walk right on the grass too. But where you see these arrows here, that could be more of a loop. I took it off because I feel like that'd be a good place where we don't have to have hardscape, where we could conserve the grass. Then. So just a couple trees here for shade, one here. You know, just kind of closing that corner off, and then. So I think we have to wait on this to see what, the neighbors are gonna do with that planting bed. So in my mind, I think it'd be great not to have to look at their parked cars or whatever they're gonna have over there. And I also think it'd be fun to have a little nod to the logging history of Harbor Springs. So some white pines here with, you know, a little signage about logging and Ephraim Shays trains and whatever. Rachel and I had talked about, you guys maybe weren't that involved with parks at the time, but the first parks director wanted to turn this park into Shea World, pretty much like Disney World.
Okay.
Yep, where there were, I don't know, splash pads and different like workshop buildings and all of that. And I just like our approach of trying to have a little lighter touch at the parks and not like fill up every square foot.
I think in the last downtown plan too, they were talking about turning that into a parking lot below and putting the tennis courts back on top.
Oh, wow.
I think that's in like the 2012 downtown plan.
I'd like to
So-
think that this board, you know, and stop me if I'm wrong, is similar minded in that we just want to have kind of a light touch. We want to, you know, give each part kind of what its purpose is, but really to kind of minimize how much hardscape and maximize the green space. This is, I actually, sorry,
Which is green space, right? Like lessen the amount of things, but
Mhm.
kind of going back to what Rachel just said, still considered to be green space.
this is the 30 by 40 tent that was up, so that was good. That was up this weekend, and then they have their trains that run out that way. So, let's see, here's the tree, so it was like more like over here. So it could go here with these trees moved, or if they want to make it more central in the park, they could do that too. The little squares are picnic tables, the little rectangles are benches. So that's all kind of a TBD thing. Oh, and then I think another thing we were gonna talk about was parking. I think Rachel's in favor of removing it or removing some of it.
Not up to us, but yeah, I hate those parking spots. I don't care, I'll say it. I don't like them. You can't see when you turn. I use Irish boat shop windows to do it because you can't see traffic. I don't know if all of them need to go. That first one is dangerous, I feel.
You're talking about right on Bay Street?
Yeah, those
Yeah,
four
there's
parking spots,
only
like,
3 or 4 of them
I
there.
get it. I can't even really get an answer of how they ended up going in, to be honest. I just
I
don't
think
feel
they
they're
mostly
getting.
get used by
But-
the Irish guys.
As you said, Bay Street is a mess.
I feel
anyway,
like
so.
if we are gonna keep a couple, I would say I would be in favor of like 1 or 2, but make them handicap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I thought too,
Yeah.
yeah.
but ultimately, that's not up to us, so.
But then we also might use
Don't
the
get on
curb
the sidewalk.
down location.
Or I wish they were angled, something to
Yeah.
make it,
I agree with
I
that.
wish all the parking in Harbor was angled. We'll talk about it another day, but.
Hate parallel parking.
Ford Park actually only has about 10 parking
Yeah.
spots for cars without
Mhm.
trailers.
Yeah, there's not many.
I mean, there's only like 4
Yeah.
on the west side.
Yeah.
And then another 5 to 6 on the east side of the park, and all the rest are used for cars with trailers. So there isn't that much parking there.
I did
Especially on
send a note
weekends.
to, I went to Harbor Commission, Karen's on. I did send a note to, JD and Lucas and Victor that I think we could probably get like 6 more passenger car parking spots there without moving the circulation. So I don't know if they're gonna, you know, pursue it or not.
That'd be nice.
Um,
They get filled really quickly.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on the?
I question, the need for this tree here. It seems like it blocks the visual, aspect to the pavilion and the train.
Yep.
Is it gonna be a big tree or?
Like a shade tree where you would look under the canopy, but maybe if you're up on Main Street looking down, it does block it.
Make sure the trees are appropriate size.
That's the only objection I have. I like the positioning of the pavilion and the train, but that one tree, Seems like overkill.
I kind of question that same thing too by the one that's right next to the AHA, looking at it, as long as it's not, blocking the view of the boat from Bay Street.
I think as we move through this project, we also need to be mindful on this park as a day-to-day park. The yoga in the park is fantastic. I love it, but it's 1 hour a week only in the summers. And the Shea Days is one weekend out of the whole year. So we have to figure out the best plan for this park for the full year for all of the community.
Do you know, Karen, how Ellie did? She moved her class. for
I talked to her
Shea Days.
after.
Did it go
She
well?
said she loved it. She said she likes this location better,
Yeah.
but she was surprised at how well it went. though.
I understand liking Shea Park, 'cause it's downtown, then people go right to the farms, but ultimately, I don't know
Where
if
did
she
she
get
end up?
more, she did at Jean Jardine,
Oh,
because
nice.
there's parking. She may
Yeah,
actually
she
get
said
more
it was
people
nice.
now that she's.
I spoke to Sarah, who works at Alley Studio,
Yeah.
and she said she had over 50 people at Jean Jardine. And
Yeah,
they wanted to know, could they stay there?
I wondered, so,
I said, they
I
had to
was
talk to you.
I actually went there and did yoga that
Yeah.
morning, and she had like 65 people, I would say there.
yeah, and I think
And
she'll
there
get
was- and there
more.
was plenty of room.
There's plenty of parking.
And plenty of parking, and the bathrooms were right
Yeah,
there.
here you mean.
And it worked,
Yeah.
pretty-
Yeah,
it worked
the
pretty
restrooms.
well. I think she likes the visibility of being in Shea Park. Because,
Right.
you know, you're
Makes
gonna
sense.
see
She's
when you
pretty
go right down
established
Main
now,
Street.
though. I mean, if you have
Oh,
6
yeah.
people coming to
Yeah.
yoga, like,
Yeah.
I told her, she was like, can we go to Jean Jardine? I'm like,
Wondered
I think they
that.
would follow you across the bay. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
worried about it. Like, I will post wherever you wanna
Yeah.
go.
So I thought it was a good spot for, because I suggested
Yeah.
she check with you
Yeah.
on that, and I think it worked out pretty well. But I think what you're saying too is what is the long range plan for this park?
Yeah.
How else is it going to be used? And that was something we talked about earlier. It's only gonna be about Shea. We're gonna have 2 pieces of equipment there. How else is it gonna be used? It's a nice picnic area.
Mhm.
I still like keeping it as open as possible for other things, which is why I'm not really that crazy about either of the 2 trees. You know, right here, or even up there, and then minimize the hardscape, you know, with that walkway.
I agree.
So it sounds like hardscape and trees are the big
Yeah.
subscribe.
I mean, I understand the need for it, but you know, when you get to the bottom of that line, there's still some grass you gotta get through. Maybe, and you do have the sidewalk to walk down too.
And I might disagree that I do like the idea of having accessible spaces for people to be able to walk through. And as we continue to look at this too, yeah, you had thrown a picture of a playground in there.
Got really excited.
I got excited about that, yeah, because we still don't, you know, for this amount of people that we attract during the summer, as a parks system have, in my opinion, adequate playgrounds. And so on the 4th of July, the busiest day, some would argue, I didn't see anybody utilizing that space. So, you know, that's another thing to consider is that if we've got these little nooks and crannies of areas that are tucked, you know, tucked in the corner, could we explore another option, to make it more of a space that people
So you could have,
venture to intentionally, not stumble.
you could have it be themed, like.
I know, I liked the natural looking.
The natural, like logging, so
Yeah.
that could tie in with the logging trees, it could be over in the same area.
Yeah,
Another thing I thought about was either public art or public art that could be climbed on, or like I was going through the landscape structures catalog. And they have like a lot of just like cool, like pipe work almost, which might be reminiscent of the waterworks that used to be there.
what were you gonna
Yeah, I have 2
Yeah.
comments. One is, you know, I think we really need to listen to what the results are of the park survey with regard to, you know, what the public wants, and then follow up with a public meeting with the presentation. And I also think that Bay Street, the wheelway is intended to go down Bay Street. Ford Park has been discussing a renovation. And also there's infrastructure on Bay Street that they're gonna tear the whole street out underground and redo whatever's there. And as far as even going down to Marina Park parking lot, there's been discussion about remodeling that. So there's a lot going on with Bay Street, and, you know, is there a way for us to, you know, coordinate together everybody and what's gonna happen, when and if.
Yeah.
You know, to think about it. Because it comes up in the Harbor Commission, right? Correct? Yeah, and it's been in the council meetings and, you know, we talked about the parking lot back when there was Marina Park Committee.
So also discussion of paying for it.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say, potentially, you have a lot of concrete, is that in our budget?
I have to make it up as I go, Nick. No, I'm just kidding. No, we'd have to put it in as a capital improvement project.
haven't you ever met cops?
I agree with Scotty as far as the Bay Street, because I think a lot of things are gonna happen. I also agree with Sarah about having the crosswalk that crosses closer to the bathrooms, but I would say if we're gonna do that, we should get rid of the first crosswalk. Like, I don't think we need 3 right in a row. Like, keep the one from the park and then add one further down and get rid of the first one. But I think that as far as the project goes, I would focus on like north of the train for now and not worry about everything on Bay Street until we find out more about the wheelway and what their plans are.
Yeah, I agree with that. Can we summarize, what our vision for this park is, our long range, master plan concept for this park? So I will throw out there, to, enjoy the open green space. Next.
Now, when you say green space, do you mean the trees and the structure?
Grass.
Or do you mean the grass?
Grass
Enjoy
area,
grass.
Sorry, it makes you break out in hives when you say green space.
Yeah.
It seems like it's turning into a celebration of,
Mhm.
history of Harbor Springs with shade.
Mhm.
I like the waterworks idea, because if you go down to the museum, which my grandson Miles loves, we went there today again, you know, they talk about the waterworks and everything that she did and we invented for the community and then put in the whole water system. So it's kind of turning into a celebration of outdoors history.
Mhm.
So
So we
I,
don't need like buildings and structures, but just little
No,
things like
no.
if you had like a cool play structure that looked like
right,
water pipes, you could have a little sign that said, this is where blah, blah, blah.
the signage on the perimeter, as you mentioned, you know, could be a way to educate at the same time, but allowing enough space for people to be able to collect and sit and enjoy and sit at picnic tables or benches,
Yeah.
whatever.
I would love to just see it utilized more. I feel like I never see people there.
It's not really
Yeah.
the most accessible park because of no parking.
And no parking.
I think it's a really good point too, because people don't really know why it's there.
But I do like
Yeah.
the thought of some kind of educational or some kind of plaything for kids, because the northeastern part of the park is really not utilized for anything like.
How does the Parks Board, oh, we're recorded, feel about, so it used to be, speaking to Kristen, like the main hub for firefighters. Like where they got all their water, which is ironic, 'cause it's the one park that doesn't have a drinking fountain in it, and all of town, there's like, what, like 42 drinking fountains, and there's not one there. So I don't think a splash pad is what we're talking about, absolutely not, but a water feature of some sort does make sense there.
I really liked the kind of theme that Dana brought up too, like water pipes, like some water
Yeah.
sensory
Not talking
stuff.
about anything crazy.
No, something
Yeah.
simple, and then
There
like
are
a little log
simple,
structure
yes.
for them to climb on.
Right,
Just like simple things that
and that
tie
could be in the
in.
future, that's not part of like this, but I think if we did do something that was like playscape, like it would have to be educational like that, but it would make sense, and it could be an ode to the firefighters over, you know, in the history of the property, it would be kind of cool.
Mhm.
It's really worth investigating more of that, the history of that, to see how we could tie some of that in. And then maybe people would go there. Or people like it.
Can
So
we
it's celebrating
ask
history.
Kristen to, the next time we discuss this, so that we make sure that they're on board with our vision for. Like, I still think I would like to see them partner with us in some way.
And she
on
might
this
have a
project.
good idea for a little water.
Just
kids
be, and she
feature.
said they could probably do benches or landscaping or whatever, but they wouldn't be interested in the walkway, but I still think that there needs to be some kind of partnership.
So celebrating history and learning, something for everybody, so that would be the kids.
And then like the picnic tables, I think there's
Picnicking.
what, 2 down there right now?
Mhm.
Instead of putting those benches facing the AHA, we could throw another picnic table up there or something like that.
The flexibility, picnicking, something for all ages, celebrating our history.
And I do like your idea of how you're looping, kind of making it a circular.
So tying the elements
I like
together.
that aspect, and it might not be concrete, maybe it's just wood chips.
You
or
walk
something that
along,
you're-
yeah. Although, do we want to, address accessibility?
I don't think we have to address it right now. Again, I think that's pretty far off.
Yeah.
If we add a loop at some point, we do. I think this is about connecting what's there and what our ultimate goal is. So we don't want it to be a theme park, but it does have an historical value and we want to celebrate that. And there are appropriate ways to do that for all ages, not just adults, so.
If they're going to Shea House to learn, come across the street and
Yeah.
learn more. It's amazing how much he actually did for this community when he lived here.
Any other comments?
Thank you, Jen.
Alright.
Okay, should we move on to swimming and s'mores?
Yes, so our first swimming and s'mores date is this upcoming Tuesday, the 23rd.
Rachel, can we just back up for a minute? So what do you see the next steps on Shea B?
I think you and I meet and we put all these ideas together.
So
Yeah.
stake it out and maybe would we?
I'd like to paint it out so we can see what the locomotive size is, the pavilion size is, and then what an added whether that's staked, maybe one of them staked. But I'd like to see all 3 personally. I'm
I
visual.
agree.
I need to see all 3.
Mhm.
Can you send us a message too once?
Yeah.
That's
Should
fine.
we, or
Yeah.
should we have like a special meeting in the park so we can
I'd like to see it all mapped out.
talk
We
through
can
it?
set that up in the next couple weeks.
Okay, so that's first step. That's maybe all we worry about right now, but then, would we have Kristen at that meeting too, for example?
Yeah, we can gauge that then. Yeah,
Yep. Okay. Swimming and s'mores. For 2
So
dates.
we have the supplies to make s'mores. We only use those solo stoves currently while Ice Fest borrows them. And then we use them up at Kiwanis for our sledding and s'mores, so it made sense. I was up at Kiwanis going through some things, throwing some stuff away, sorting through stuff, so to bring swimming and s'mores to the community. I wanna say this upcoming Tuesday is a movie night as well. The
Which
movie.
doesn't start till like.
Yeah, they also don't start till like 9:45, 10, Bonnie said sometimes, because they have to wait till dark. So this might be either like a nice come beforehand the movie, or maybe for younger kids who aren't gonna stay up for the movie, something else to offer. I see it going fairly simple.
Yeah.
Like we put the solo stoves up, we have, a picnic table with the supplies. I was thinking we could do like limbo on the beach, like your basic beach games.
Would we do
Volleyball.
beach bingo?
I mean, yeah, possibilities technically are endless, or we can keep it simple and then see, how the first, because we only have one for this month and we have one for next month. I don't know the exact date, but I know it's close to Labor Day. It's like right in that ending of school.
We
Or
put up,
beginning.
can we put up a badminton,
13th.
net, we put badminton,
Yeah,
badminton up there on the green space?
we don't own a bed in that, I can go buy one, like Dunham's.
Oh, yeah, well, I have one at home. As long as the people
I'm
across the
really good
street
at
don't really matter.
Don't really bad.
Would we have the lifeguards there?
I can ask,
I mean, it's after their hours.
yeah, but it's after their hours, so.
And this is, I mean, a family event where you'd think most parents would be attending with their children, so.
You would think that.
I had to guess that they probably will not stay for this, I had to guess.
I think the parents would need to know there won't be lifeguards there, so they need to come with their kids.
I mean, our hours
Yeah,
are,
just keep it simple to get started.
yeah, I think the simpler the better. Personally, I don't know, with kids, it just seems
I think, yeah,
the easiest thing.
kids are happy enough playing in the sand and being at the
So I'll
beach.
post flyers for you guys out tomorrow. Cool.
Okay.
I'll send it to Bonnie at the chamber. I'm pretty sure she's already posted it. The Harbor Light already posted it. When they did their article on parks a couple weeks ago. I'll get it up on the city website on Facebook, but I think it should have a good turnout. I don't see, I mean, I think naturally people walk by the beach all the time around that time still. Beach is still pretty busy after 7, so
What's the date?
the 23rd. Yep, so next Tuesday.
Yeah, we were there at 7:30 last night and it was full, so.
Yeah, and I say we just do s'mores, like no other food,
No
nothing
hot
else.
dogs or anything.
No, just s'mores.
And it would be good if we could get banners. The coming out of town banners.
I won't be able to get a banner, not for this one. I can maybe get one for a future one, or we can wait till next year and just see how it goes.
Next year.
Yeah.
Do we get yard signs?
I would just ask Bonnie to put it on the chamber's social
Yeah.
media.
I
We'll put
really
it on
think
ours.
it'll be popular. I think it's gonna be popular even if you didn't advertise, because the beach is so busy still late at night. Like,
Or if we got a couple of yard signs and put them at the beach, so people,
Put-
yeah.
Just put flyers on the bathroom doors.
that works, yeah.
Very good idea.
And I'll go back to this too. I don't know if you noticed when the Sharam was doing their Career Academy for Kids. Sharam just has some very basic yard signs that say Sharam event in an arrow.
Oh, I like that.
And so if
So
you
not
just
gonna-
say, if you're able to make some yard signs, similar to what you did for the survey that just says, you know, Harbor Springs Parks and Recreation, free event with an
Oh, I
arrow.
found a sandwich board.
Perfect,
I want to tell you about it.
perfect. That would just bring
Have you
more
printed it
attention
yet?
to us.
No, I found it at the ski park from the Muley Garage.
What time does it start, Rachel? What are the hours for that?
7 to 9. 2 hours seems about right.
Mhm.
So you'll get the food and then, do we have enough sticks?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we got less.
And then, do we need to get some wood delivered or
No, we have plenty.
is it dry?
Yep.
How many solo stoves do you have?
Great.
I can help you with that too.
Does everybody want to save newspapers for
And if you
starter?
think of any simple games to set up, let me know and we'll bring them down. Thinking like cornhole, badminton, doing like a limbo. Think like, you know, just simple things like that. Take-
I can bring down the badminton game if I can find it in the garage.
Okay, if not, I'll
It's so
go get
well
one and
used.
done them.
Yes, using my help.
Yeah, I think it'll be a nice addition for the summer. Yeah. And you can kind of do it in passing, which is nice. You know, if you're out to dinner, you're not really coming to an event. I think it's gonna be more of, oh, this is going on in the park. Let's grab a s'more.
Dessert.
Right.
Pocket forest.
Hold on, yeah, I had to count.
This was a PowerPoint that I put together for a tree board. This is one of our projects this year. I'll give you guys a little 5-minute recap on what is a pocket forest. And then where we are right now, we've been planning to partner with the schools and do it on the school grounds, but they couldn't really think of anywhere they wanted it. And so now we're looking at parks and where could we put it on city property? So,
That good?
yep, zip through. I said little quotes in these things. So what is it and why should we get involved in it? So it's an area of densely planted native trees, shrubs, and ground cover. And they create a little ecosystem in the heart of the city. It's kind of a growing movement. All the benefits of a larger forest. I think it's a great learning opportunity for our future stewards of the environment. Let's see, they keep the moisture in, weeds down with all the native shrubs. They're resilient in the face of drought. All these things can, you know, be on some interpretive signage. And this was actually the idea was developed in the 1970s by Japanese forest ecologist Akira Miyawaki. So first we have to figure out where to do it, get rid of the grass, plant seedlings. So I think a lot of this will be the tree board. So I think our role, maybe we do it together, would be to help and decide where. So a lot of these are details we're probably not to quite yet. So we got to figure out how to fund it, work it into the curriculum, community partners. And this is what we're thinking about. And then is there a picture of that aerial?
No, yeah, in the packet. I have one, hold on. Let me escape out of here. Yeah, in the packet, I'm pretty sure the last page is the aerial.
Mhm. Yep. So, Rachel, if you want to point,
I think it was in.
I've just been having this thought about, what's that?
Was it in here? Is this where?
Well,
This is the Deer
Okay.
Park. You guys know where we're talking. This is the Deer Park Police Station.
the spillway.
Okay.
And so, it sounds like everything went well with the power station discussion last night. So is that right, Jamie? So it looks like now it's not coming back to this.
As of right now.
As of this minute, yeah. So, the city property actually goes all the way over here, and this is kind of a wetlands area. So I've just, been, of course, spinning this whole thing out of control, that we have, the new rain gardens up here, which is a good learning, element on filtering water and pollutants and that kind of thing. I think it'd be very cool if we had like a boardwalk through the wetlands with, some interpretive, signage on that. This might be a great opportunity, this is recorded, isn't it, to get rid of the deer park. And
Mine, I'll say.
yep, let's just say it out loud. And tree board's also been talking about, like, we planted a bunch of trees here a couple of years ago with different species, of maybe having an arboretum where kids could learn about trees. We could do our little pocket forest demonstration. We've had a community garden on our list for a while, so this could be a spot for that. It could be, an area to discuss the values of composting. So I say let's just take all this over. So I don't know if there's interest, or if you think, if the board has interest, and B, do you think there'd be interest in the community for something like this?
Now, when you say pocket forest, I'm envisioning like a small, like when you pulled this map up, I thought you were talking about like maybe that little green space in between the driveway there. That's what I envisioned pocket, but
So
you're saying
this would
pocket.
happen
much
sometimes
larger.
once you get going though,
Yeah.
things kind of expand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had the same thing at the tree board meeting. Victor said size is. Can play with it. Yeah.
What is a typical size of a pocket forest? Is there,
I don't think there's a typical
no
size. It
typical
could be
thing.
the size of this room. It could be half the room.
I think it's a cool idea to
Yeah.
do all that right over there.
Mhm.
I like the idea of the boardwalk, the wetlands, make it usable.
You guys have all been to Thorn Swift, I'm sure. That's a great place. We wouldn't probably have anything as elaborate as their nature center, but it could be a nice place to take your kids instead of going to the deer park. And this whole property is kind of unusable right now because it is so low. So that would be, and my other thought is this could be like a really great idea, to make it a community project, where the schools are involved, and, we ask different groups like Birchwood or, Weekly, or, to be involved in some part of it. Because I think we could use a way to, have a project to bring everybody back together.
What do you think the pushback will be on the deer park? Since last time it was messy,
They lost by one vote.
but it was
Yeah.
quite.
Yeah, it was controversial.
But if we had something to offer instead.
Yeah.
You might actually see real deer Yeah, I'll walk it.
Not that poor buck with the antlers.
Yeah. I think part of the problem before is, that, I don't know, I think if you had something though to offer that.
I'm
this is
sure it would
something
be
you
like
can do
last
with-
time, it would go to council and council would either push it, sorry, Jamie, or,
I think it's a great idea, but I think that it's not worth adding to what we're doing right now.
No, this would be a next year probably thing.
I mean, I don't even think next year. I think next year we're still focused on Kiwanis and then we are gonna try to do Harbor View and we're trying to do things, like we're doing things in every park and this is just adding another project. That I think this is like a 5-year plan.
And that's fine. All that being said, then where does this leave the pocket forest? Maybe that just gets tabled for 5 years.
Is
Or
the tree
once-
board gonna keep going forward with some ideas there?
I think we're kind of just gonna wait and see, like, how's that gonna fit into the context of this park? And
What was the reasoning that the school said no?
I think they just didn't want to commit school property to that, not knowing what other uses there might be.
And I'm wondering if because of the huge construction project that deterred them, so maybe even in a year or two, they would be willing
More
to,
amenable.
yeah.
I think everyone's open to the pocket forest.
yeah.
It seems, I think the 5-year plan for this park is that Deer Park serve a purpose? I think that's the question we're really asking, because if we're talking about doing a pollinator garden or pocket, my concern with next year putting in a pocket, like the tree board may be ready next year to say, hey, let's put in a pocket forest, that's amazing. But if it doesn't fit, if it's just kind of random, my fear the tree board will do something amazing and it won't be used properly and it won't really make a lot of sense. Because it's not tied in with other pieces, kind of like what Dan was saying, you have the rain gardens, you have a pollinator garden, you
Yeah, I
have all
think
those
tree
other
board
things.
is willing, well, I
Yeah.
can't speak for them, we're meeting this week too, but willing to table it as well. So that we're not just putting things in that may need to get moved because we want something else there once we do get into deeper planning.
I mean, I think it's
So-
all a great idea and the whole concept is awesome, but I just don't foresee us being able to do all of these projects well if we don't continue to focus on what's important.
Okay. So then I guess feedback for tree board is, everybody was really enthusiastic, but, this is not gonna be something we can
Let's
probably
wait
tackle in
till-
the next couple of years, yeah.
Nice. I'm curious, how many deer are still left in the deer park?
There are 2 babies in there right now.
2 babies?
That'll go away. And then, and then I think ultimately, don't quote me, I don't think there can be more than 6 in there
That's
at a time. And they
with the
rotate,
babies.
yeah, because the male is newer. He came last year, Hudson. Donut, I think, is like the oldest. She likes donuts and, I don't know the other ones. It's not an educational piece. It's there because it's always been there, is really, I guess.
So they don't
The hiccup.
neuter or spay the deer that go in there?
Donut is, can't have babies, but I don't think that was like on purpose or anything. I just don't think she can. But every year there are babies. I mean, every year I've been here, the past 3 years, there've been babies.
Okay, can we just agree by consensus that we're enthusiastic, but that it's probably gonna be a couple years?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good, what else do we have, Rachel?
Honest park renovation, this will be quick. Okay, so we have extended the request proposal deadline for 2 weeks. We have, an RFP, already turned in. I did let them know that we did extend it 2 weeks in case they want to resubmit for any reason, to be fair. So the new due date will be July 25th at noon. So really the point is like, I know it seems like we're kind of on hold and we're not really talking about it. So like, what's our role moving forward? It's just kind of what I wanted to talk about today. So work with the architect, council chooses to stay within budget while accomplishing our main goals of the park. I personally don't think we're gonna have a problem finding an architect. I think in the next couple of weeks, more will come in. Just to be clear, like, and we go through this orientation, it's not appropriate for board members to contact the architect engineer chosen without staff throughout the process. I know sometimes that's difficult because we could end up with a local, architect we see every day at the grocery store, but let's just make sure What we're saying, bids are coming in extremely high on projects. We need to remain realistic. A perfect example of that is Harbor Master Building bids came in 2 weeks, last week, 2 weeks ago. At 1.9 mil and 2.3 mil. And that was I mean, granted, it was to take the roof off. There are a lot of logistical things with that plan. They're gonna pull some things back. It will still come in high. Absolutely it will. They'll bid it out in the winter. Hopefully they'll get more bids. But that's just the world we live in. Unfortunately, like a $523,000 donation is amazing, but we need to be very realistic that it's not going to get us very far. We may be doing the building, hooking to city sewer, calling it a day.
And one of the highest parts of the bids for the Harbor Master Building was the plumbing.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're talking about bathrooms, like. Yeah.
I mean,
And that everything is so old there.
back in 2019, when I worked at Comstock, we put in a restroom building with the DNR grant, and the building standalone one stall restrooms came in at like $130,000, and that was very, very simple. And also, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
I think the lesson now from Harbor Commission though is, the board needs to be involved and give them input on, we want to keep it rustic, we don't want fancy finish, fit and finish, and.
I just want the board to be prepared that when Lucas and I met with the architects at the building, we told them that ADA for the building and indoor outdoor restrooms and a deck were our top priority. If we get a playground piece in, that's great. If we do an ice rink, that's great. But like, we need to do the things to do those other things. We can't throw in an ice rink and then not have a restroom that can accommodate that. That doesn't make sense.
The building's a priority.
Yeah, so the building will be ultimately the priority.
Does that include a kitchen update?
Yeah, yep, we told them just like a quick, not like commercial grade, anything like that, but just something nice for people to use. The other nice thing about focusing on the indoor of the building is a lot of, like, DNR grants don't allow you to do that. That trust fund grant pretty much takes out any building unless you're creating a new restroom and it's ADA, things like that, you can apply for, but other things you can't. So we'll wait for those to come in, we'll pick an architect, we'll probably ask them to come to a meeting.
What's the time frame on when they think they'll pick somebody?
Well, if they're due July 25th, then council should do it in August, I would think.
First August
Like,
meeting
yeah,
would be my
first
guess.
August meeting should be able to.
So maybe for our next meeting, we should come with ideas about what we'd like to see in the kitchen, for example, or,
Yeah, I mean, I told them a stovetop, a 3-basin sink. And like, like that was it. Like, I'm not looking, I mean, that's still rentals and no one's there to like watch over it, so I don't think we need to do anything, crazy. I just want to keep it simple.
Is there an oven in there?
Yeah, oven, stovetop, old fridge. I had that on the list.
But I think, the building is 50 years old, just like at the Harbor Master. The biggest expense was, what was above the ceiling,
the system.
between the ceiling and the roof, that, nobody knew what's
Well,
up
and
there.
we don't know anything about that building.
Right,
So we have to
that's
keep
what
that
I'm
in mind.
saying.
We don't know how it's insulated. I mean, DPW isn't even positive on where that septic tank is. I mean, we know the vicinity of where it is, but we don't know the last time it was emptied and we don't know where it is specifically. So a lot of questions, and that's why like donations are amazing, but I just want us to stay practical.
I think if you,
Reel it in.
I think if you get the bathrooms, it'll be
No.
amazing. for
Yeah.
that price.
So too, so.
Also, can you, any update on the back 9 T-pads?
Yes, that's in the director's report,
Okay.
but yes, we do. Are we on the director's report? Okay. Did anyone have any comments or questions about Kiwanis? Okay.
What day are they due again, Rachel?
The 25th in
25th.
noon.
I guess the only thing I would add to Kiwanis,
Yeah.
I know we're focused on the building, but I would really like to do a serious look at the hiking trails. And work around the disc golf and so on. Probably can't come with this $500,000, I understand, but I still think that's a priority.
Sorry, this is like a really sad director's report. DPW again plans on installing the M119 fence, the beach swings, the used equipment, that's all on their schedule. Parks maintenance and skate park staff, we began painting the fence today, that's why I
Yeah, you
look the way I
posted
do. I do have some photos that I can show you real quick, ones of Trevor looking thrilled. I posted on Facebook today. it's gonna load.
I think that's really gonna update things up
If
there.
not, you can just go to Facebook, but it does look nicer,
Mhm.
arguably much nicer. And we have 10 really nice days to do it, so if you need to find me, that's where we will be. So like-
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, out of here. How do I get out of here?
Escape.
I did escape. Nobody know?
Control Q.
Control Q?
No.
No, okay.
Well, your last thing is recycling is now.
Okay, yeah, recycling's in the park. Yeah, great. Recycling parks, that's going well. There was something else. Oh, so the disc golf course, yes. So Cops gave me a quote of around $2,000 to do the 7 tee pads. Trevor has a bunch of businesses signed up to do a $500 donation per hole. So after we're done painting this fence, that'll be our next thing, is to do the tee pads, signage for the disc golf course and the trails.
I just have one more question. What had, maybe this has been happening and I'm not subscribed to Harbor Light, so I don't know, but the Parks Corner articles, is that
I was
still
thinking about
going
that
on? Is
too.
that still in every other?
Did Tree Board do one last one?
You know, Rachel, I've lost track.
Yeah,
frankly. But I can look. I will
It is,
look.
July is Parks and Recreation Month, so we probably should do one.
Okay.
Should.
Do you have any
If I can get
volunteers?
it.
By when, Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have a topic?
We create a list of topics at some point.
We did.
I can look an email in the morning, what my topics
Yeah,
are.
do that.
I'll just really highlight that part. I feel like there was something else, but it can't be that important, so.
Program updates, swimming and s'mores, which we talked about.
The survey, everybody got a
Yeah,
copy
everyone
of
get the
it?
survey.
I'd like to see the comments.
Me too, me too.
After I saw one that said put a dome over Harbor Springs for
I
the
saw that
WNBA.
Yeah.
And then another one that said limit hours that the dogs can be at the dog beach. I'm like, yeah.
I know exactly who wrote that. I know exactly who wrote that.
Yeah. I really like seeing where we were with that right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So right now, the boardwalk's ahead of the wheelway.
Yeah.
And interestingly, well, Bill had a Harbor Inc. meeting today and Doug Fuller was talking about wheelway and next steps and all that.
How's their fundraising coming along?
They've got 30,000 now, but 25 of that is from the off.
Yeah. They have 300,000, you said?
30.
30,000.
They're talking about maybe, the next thing to talk about is like, a fundraising party or something like that.
I think Parks is probably, we're gonna have to start bringing up the eastern portion of the boardwalk. We have some council members that would like to see that completed.
And how much money have we raised for that?
I don't know why, yeah, like maybe 5,000, something like that. That's
A ways to
nothing.
go.
But the Stevens, I think, wanna,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have a 25, they're willing to do a $25,000 match, so. Get that going.
should we talk about that in August then, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. So for August, Kiwanis hopefully, and then not Sir.
I'm supposed to do a fundraiser.